And almost as if traditional technical analysis actually works, Bitcoin has bounced off our support level that we were talking about in the previous video. Smash up those likes if you appreciate that, because everybody was going very, very doom and gloom. I even made a bearish video yesterday, but had to remind you guys that we still have support in this range, and we ended up bouncing off it very, very nicely. We've now set a temporary double top, coming back down a little bit. I want to talk to you about this short-term price action. I want to relate this to the S&P 500 because look at this performance, ladies and gents. When we first got this breakout, we were talking about how the S&P 500 was actually looking very, very good. You guys are going to notice if you go back on the YouTube videos throughout this bear market, especially since things bottomed out, we have been on the ball with analysis on this YouTube channel. So if you are appreciating that, just double check to see if you are subscribed. This is very time sensitive content, and if you're not subscribed, if you don't already have the bell icon checked, then you're not going to be notified when we post this stuff, and you're just going to get the videos late. But I want to talk a little bit about the S&P 500 as well. There's actually quite a lot going on in this market, but let's just start off with Bitcoin. Classic support resistance retest, absolutely beautiful, very, very nice indeed to see. We didn't plunge too low. Switch it on to the 4-hour time frame. Take a look at my best friend, the 𝗢𝗙𝗥𝗙𝗚𝗓 cloud. We didn't actually come down low enough to see it, but our support levels are getting higher. If we take a look at momentum, 4-hour EMA ribbon saving Bitcoin once again beautifully. Daily time frame didn't quite bounce into it, but all these bullish flips coming in right now, which is absolutely great. Bitcoin's still struggling though. I mean, every time we seem to be hitting these resistance areas, Bitcoin is just getting sent right back down. It's almost like whack-a-mole, right? Every time Bitcoin jumps up, someone's there with a fucking hammer just sending this shit down. But guess what's not getting sent down? It is Ethereum. I was breaking this down for you guys, talking about how Ethereum has another very, very nice range coming up for it right here. Another potential 40% pump. We are now, let's take a look at this. We're now 8% of the way through, or up to the high about 10-11%, which is very nice indeed. The last time I made quite a bold prediction on Ethereum, it was when we got this breakout, and I said that I think we're going to hit this range. Now that we're above this range, I think that we are looking at this range, although there are some things that could be stopping Ethereum right now. I was actually just on the phone with MDX Crypto. Many of you guys who watch me probably know about him, but go ahead and check him out on YouTube if you like my content. He is a fellow British YouTuber who no longer lives in Britain, because we both understand what a tyrannical government looks like and how we should leave. And putting that aside, he is a very, very good analyst, and he actually mentioned to me that this kind of high right here could be a problem for Ethereum, especially if you look at where this whole price explosion began, somewhere around over here. Throw a Fibonacci on this and look at where that golden level lines up, our 0.618 Fibonacci level lining up with $2,060. If we take a look at the high that we've set today, we've topped out at 2020. So the market clearly potentially starting to find a little bit of resistance in this range. It is something that I want to put on your radar, because again, guys, the same thing that I was mentioning in the previous videos, plural, that was concerning me is the sentiment. You know, I'm seeing people just standing up on tables, waving their shirts around in excitement, you know, almost like party mode, because the markets are up. But at the end of the day, you know, I just want us to look at this market with a slightly more sober perspective, and specifically Ethereum, because it's just so much more profile than Bitcoin in terms of its price action. But it really doesn't matter what chart you look at. This is still quite the same thing, where in fact, I just want to show this to you back in 2018 instead. You know, what we had back in 2018 was, you know, this big pump up to $1,400, down to about $300-400 right here to capture some support, and then a big move up. Bitcoin's equivalent move was 20K down to 6, although it actually happened around here or something like that, and then up to 11, and then Bitcoin ended up going much lower. Obviously, Ethereum performed much worse than Bitcoin, because that's just how it goes. When the market is bullish, Ethereum performs better. When the market is bearish, Ethereum performs worse. Very, very important indeed to keep in mind. But if we take a look at this right here, what we had was quite a nice bounce up from this low up to this high, plus 125%. Quite an explosive move as well. And really, all I want to do is just quietly bring on the very same chart. Just show you the same chart side by side. You can probably see where this is going, because if we take this off the logarithmic chart, to me, ladies and gents, let me hide my camera. To me, this looks like some very, very similar price action right here. Take a look at this. very, very similar price action that I'm seeing. I don't know about you, but I am fighting a sneeze right now, and for some reason I can't get it out. This is very annoying, just a little bit under the weather today, but take a look at this. We've got our major high right here falling down massively, absolutely heinous drop right here. Look, very, very same case right here, and then we trigger a big rally which doesn't end up coming into fruition. Now, I'm not saying that that's what we're looking at right now, but fuck me, guys, it looks exactly the same as last time. Look, I don't mean to be the bringer of bad news. I don't want to be the guy that's just killing your hopes when you're starting to get excited, but actually, one of the things that I think is very, very important is that when we are still in a bear market, when we are still in a formation of setting lower highs, until we start to break these highs, it's not really sensible to say that we're in a bull market again, or that we are, off to the races to all-time highs and so on, or just to get all of this exuberance back in the market. I just feel like it's premature, because this looks exactly like one of these really big reaction rallies. Guys, we've seen one of the most destructive, depressing, horrible sell-offs that I've ever seen in the markets. Other people that I respect, like 𝗪𝗙𝗦𝗧𝗍, have said very publicly that even though this isn't the worst bear market in terms of percentage drops, right? We actually had a worse one when we finished 2017, entered a bear market, then into 2018, 19, and 20. Even though this bear market isn't as bad in terms of percentage drop, it is worse because there's just more people in the space. There were more idiots this time. They got burnt. More companies shutting down, people losing their jobs in the crypto space and so on. Like, really quite a nasty environment right now. And so, yeah, no shit, we could be looking at a bounce, but this doesn't take us out of the woods yet. And I think this is really, really important to keep in mind, bringing us back to the S&P 500 as well, because this is something really important. We're just jumping around a lot of different charts today, ladies and gents. This is a very, very important video. The other thing that I just want to point out to you guys, very same case right here. And actually, I love giving credit to people, guys, because, I watch people that I respect in this space. I don't watch them very much anymore, but, I used to a lot, and I still do occasionally. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is one of the few people that I still pay attention to very keenly, him and 𝗪𝗙𝗏𝗏 being my two absolute favorites in the space. And, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, one of the key things that he's been pointing out, it's so basic. He really has quite a traditional, I would say grounded background in trading and analysis. And one of the things that he was pointing out quite simply is that, we haven't actually ended our bear market yet, because we haven't set a new higher high. And this also applies to the S&P 500, right? I just don't think that on a macro scale that we've done anything super significant like that. Obviously, this is a lot easier to say for Bitcoin than it is for the S&P 500, but I still think that we are in quite a similar situation. And so, the other thing that I just want you guys to keep in mind right here is that, this market right now has entered a bear market with the S&P 500, right? The typical definition for a bear market for the S&P 500 is dropping down anything more than 20%. This is minus 24.5. And right now, this rally is up by 17% in total, right? So in terms of a bear market rally, we're still doing exactly what I would expect. This is also quite a big, quick run up. If you take a look, if I just kind of draw an average of this price action to show you what kind of gradient we used to rise in, and now we look at what kind of gradient we're actually rising in right now. This is orders of magnitude more, aggressive price action right here. Just look at how much more aggressive this line is compared to this line, and this is on the linear chart, so I think it's really important to keep in mind that these markets have been rising up quite a bit. People are getting quite excited. We look at where the longs and shorts are, and right now, Bybit is majority short, but the other two main exchanges right here that are listed, Binance and FTX, are majority long, and Binance by quite a bit if you take a look at this kind of data. So I think this is really important to keep in mind in this market right now, because again, we're getting a lot of buying pressure. We're getting a lot of optimism creeping right back into this market at a time where, honestly, I just don't think that we've earned it. I just don't think that it's a sensible enough time to be looking at price action like this. At sentiment like this. Because, we are still in these bear markets. We haven't really gotten big breakouts. To be fair, Ethereum has seen quite a nice breakout so far, but Bitcoin certainly hasn't. Bitcoin is lagging behind a little bit. And let's bring it back to Bitcoin as well just for a minute, because I think what we're seeing right here now is potentially another situation where Bitcoin might have to come back down and capture a little bit of support. It could just be the case that some of our existing support levels kind of catch up to the market, right? This 1 hour Ichimoku cloud somehow ended up saving Bitcoin, which is quite impressive. impressive. But if we end up trading, just a little bit lower, perhaps sideways into these next, into the next, I don't know, 16 hours or so, there is going to be a nice area of support right here, which could end up helping Bitcoin. Probably some momentum on the 1 hour time frame. Yep, there is a little bit of momentum that could help Bitcoin right now. 4 hour EMA ribbon still inching higher, so these things are helping Bitcoin. I don't obviously think that this is a real level of resistance for Bitcoin at all, and so I'm not expecting this to be a problem. And as these support areas kind of catch up, I don't think Bitcoin is going to have a problem and exploding higher, and that could obviously be very, very exciting. Now, obviously, no matter which direction this market goes, I am going to be trading this primarily on Bybit. So if you want to take a look at the one exchange that I've been using consistently throughout all of these years, then check it out by signing up to the main exchange that I trust and getting over $4,000. There's a link in the description. Just scroll down in the description. You're going to see this right here. Get over $4,000 by signing up to the main exchange that I trust in my trading activities. This link is going to take you to a page where I show you how to claim those $4,000 with a tutorial video. So I do it in front of you, and it takes 2.5 minutes from start to finish, from where you are right now, not having an account, or even if you do have an account, you can do this and make another one. From where you are right now to claiming your $4,000, it takes 2.5 minutes. Guys, that, if you like trading, that is a bloody good risk to reward ratio, right? For that to not be worth your time, you probably have to have an account like more than 500k US, probably far, far higher than that, that you're putting into each trade for, a 2.5 minute deal to not be worth your time. So go ahead and check it out by following that link in the description down below. This obviously looking very, very nice. Now, the thing is because we've managed to set in kind of a new, I would say, micro higher low. Take a look at this. Our lows are getting a little bit higher bit by bit. I don't want to see that Bitcoin swings below this level now. This is now the new level to lose. If Bitcoin loses this level, that to me means that bears are in control. It might not actually be such a big deal. I mean, we could actually still drop down, capture some more support lower down. Like I said, these are still areas of support. I don't want to be losing perspective of that. Everyone else can lose perspective of that because they're idiots, but right here on the 𝗓𝗡lies channel, we're just sticking to the fundamentals, the real, simple, easy, obvious stuff, regardless of how we feel emotionally about it. Obviously, these facts don't change. So still a support level, but just looking at this very short-term trend of higher highs and also where the momentum hopefully should be taking us just for a nice little explosion to the upside, I absolutely think that this is that new kind of level that I want to see Bitcoin holding, just that prior low right there. As long as we stay above it, I think we're fine. And, a little bit of consolidation is fine. If we end up rising above this high, I mean, a third time, I just don't see us getting resistance the third time. I mean, I know I've been saying this over here, but I did turn out to be correct overall, saying, I just couldn't expect this area to continue offering resistance. I'm saying the same thing right now. I had a little bit more patience for 24K because this was actually a resistance area back in 2020, but $25,000 on the dot, which is where we've been rejected from twice now, is not a significant area at all technically. Now, psychologically, of course, it's a nice big round number, but technically there's absolutely no significance to this price area that I'm seeing. And so if we are able to get back up to this area, I fully believe that we're going to be resuming this uptrend. And again, all these moves where we move up by a little bit, get sent back down, move up by a little bit more, get sent back down. I just don't think that that can continue. There's got to be some limits to this stuff. It can't continue like this forever. And if we draw a trend line that kind of represents this pattern of setting higher highs, as soon as we're out of it, as soon as we pump above this kind of trend line right here, which everybody has been watching, right? We've been talking about this a little bit on the YouTube channel with this right here, with Bitcoin just kind of being in one of these potential wedges again that are rising up. A lot of people around the space are talking about this kind of pattern. It doesn't really matter how you draw the support. The more important line is the resistance. As soon as we are above this line, which is to say, we can drop down and keep setting higher highs, but if it takes time to do that, i.e. if we do it slowly, we're still in this kind of bearish pattern. But if we're able to break up, that is going to be a sign that momentum has finally that momentum has finally shifted to the upside, and we are looking at potentially getting quite a big explosion. And why on Monday, if you look at the title of this video? Well, quite simply, we had a Friday trading session right here on the S&P 500. It ended shortly before I made this video, a few hours before. And I think what we're looking at right now, given that there was such a nice pump on that Friday, means that people were buying right up until the end of the trading session for the S&P 500. And, I think that's quite an important sign, because that could feed into Monday's price action. Doesn't mean that it will, and there are signs that the S&P 500 needs to pull back. For example, just the simple fact that if we measure this from low to high, it's taken 56 days to pump up by 17%, but most of this pump has actually happened in much less than that. Most of this pump has actually happened within 32 days, and that is a very short space of time to get such a big move for the S&P 500. And I've already demonstrated to you why by showing you those two red lines that just demonstrate how strong this is. So obviously the S&P 500 is not juiced up and acting like a 20-year-old jumping up and down against walls and stuff like that. Just like Bitcoin is. The S&P 500 is a far more mature, older, slower moving market. And so to get this kind of, action right here in this market, it is just generally not sustainable. And I hate to be the one that brings it to you, but of course, this is still a channel that's focused on the facts. If we take a look at some of this sideways price action right here, this has been an important level of support and resistance for the S&P 500, triggering some very nice rallies and some very steep projections as well. So, don't think that we are immune from that, but bottom line, we are carrying a lot of energy coming into this range, so I still think that that's nice. And to be honest, this range should probably be tightened down to something a little bit like this. If we're able to cross above this, though, the good news is that, and I did mention this way back, if you've been subscribed, you're going to know all about this, the S&P 500 probably has some space to rise up to this high. That's just one of the areas I was looking at for resistance. That is a 19% pump after breaking this resistance area. And the thing is, if we look at where we are right now, we've already managed to move up by 10%. So we're about halfway through that. Given that Bitcoin tends to correlate with the S&P 500 very closely, and certainly has done over this last little bit, Bitcoin within that same time frame, let me just get the time frames right though. This was 20th of July. Let's move back to Bitcoin. What was happening then? 20th of July. Where does that place us? At a very strange price area, actually. This is, there we go, about a 17. I'm using it from the same low. It's not at the same time, but it's similar enough. The correlation isn't perfect between Bitcoin and the S&P 500, but it is close. We were looking at about a 17% move. So if we're going to produce something similar to that again right now, I like the price targets. I like where it lines up. That's 28.7. That whole range, everyone and their nan is saying that we're going to find resistance there. So obviously we're probably not. It's to me, it's pretty obvious, but obviously, nothing is definite as well, but bottom line, I think when everyone's expecting, a certain area to be hit, we're probably going to overshoot it by a little bit or undershoot it by a little bit or by a lot. We could overshoot it quite majorly or undershoot it quite majorly. It doesn't really matter, but bottom line, we don't tend to hit those same areas that everybody is expecting. So I think that is very, very important to keep in mind just while we are in this situation in the market. So there you go. Quite exciting times in the market. Obviously, it's a great time to be a trader. Once again, if you want to get over $4,000 for free, trade on the very same exchange that I trust with all of my trading activities, you can check them out by following that link in the description down below. And if you want to join 𝗬𝗎🎤 VIP, it's always going to be the first link in the description down below right here, or you can follow these steps on screen, which are exactly the same. First link in the description, then click on my name at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗬𝗎𝗏𝗏's Gold, and then click on send message to ask me how to join. Very, very straightforward. Puts you in a direct chat with me, so you get to talk to me, get to ask me any questions you like, and so on. And yeah, I will talk to you all in the next one. Really hope you have enjoyed this one. If you have, you know what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell so you don't miss out on this very time-sensitive content, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.